Hi, everyone. Welcome to Partnering with DVR, the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, to build your pathway to employment. Presented by Peak Parent Center's Project Power, which is a Rehabilitation Services Administration transition project for youth. This presentation is an introduction to Project Power's IPE, or Individualized Plan for Employment guide. We want to give you an introduction to DVR, who's eligible to work with DVR, what an IPE is, and how to learn more about the process. It might be helpful to write a few things down during the presentation. Press the pause button if you need to get some paper and something to write with, or whatever works best for you to take down information. An IPE is not for everyone, and you must be eligible for DVR services. We'll talk more about this. We'll explain more about DVR and what an IPE is. The more that you know about your work style and preferences, the easier it will be to develop your IPE. You can get more information in the IPE guide, and you can also contact an advisor at Peak Parent Center or your local DVR office. We'll give more information about contacting these offices at the end of the presentation. DVR stands for the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. DVR is a state agency that can help you find a job, keep your job, or get a better job. You can partner with DVR to develop an individualized plan for employment, or IPE, which is a plan to help you achieve your work goal. DVR is a government agency, and working with DVR involves a process. This process will take time. We've created a guide to help you understand the process of creating an IPE with DVR in Colorado. You can use the QR code on the corner of the slide to access the guide. There will also be a link provided on the Peak Parent website on the same page as you found this recording. This session is to give you an introduction to the guide. You can get more information from the guide or from Peak Parent Center or your local DVR office. An individualized plan for employment might be for you if you're interested in building your career path after high school and you need specific services related to a disability to meet your employment goals. An IPE might not be for you if you need a job immediately. The IPE process is individualized and it takes some time to get through it. If you need something right away, consider the Workforce Center. If you're starting high school and aren't ready to focus on your career path or go through the DVR eligibility process, you might want to consider pre-employment transition services, or PREETs. Workforce centers provide a variety of free services to assist employers and people looking for jobs. Their services are not specific to individuals with disabilities. Their services include job listings, computer and internet access, career counseling and training for job seekers. They also work with employers on recruitment of workers, pre-screening, and referral services. If you need something right away, you might want to get in touch with the Workforce Center. Pre-employment transition services, or PREETs, are available while you're in high school. DVR works with school districts and community partners to deliver PREETs to youth with disabilities. These services do not require an eligibility determination or that you have an IPE. PREET services include job exploration counseling, work-based learning experiences, counseling for enrolling in college, workplace readiness training, and instructions in self-advocacy. For more information on PREETs in your area, check with your high school or with your local DVR office. The DVR website also has more information on youth services, including PREETs. Before you can develop an IPE, you must be determined eligible by DVR. This means that DVR must determine three things. First, you must have a documentable disability, such as a physical, mental, or learning disability. Second, your disability creates problems with you getting or keeping a job. And third, you need DVR services to work successfully. DVR has up to 60 days to make your eligibility determination after you submit your signed application. You can apply for DVR services while you're still in school. Your school may have a DVR partner, or again, you can contact your local DVR office directly. The easiest time to begin the process is before you leave high school, but if you're out of high school, it is not too late and you can still develop an IPE. So if you've been determined eligible, you can begin the process of developing your individualized plan for employment, or IPE. The IPE is an agreement between you and DVR, and this means that both you and DVR have obligations. Your IPE is a written plan for you to work toward your job goal. The IPE will outline the specific services that are necessary and appropriate to reach your job goal, the expected timeline to begin and end services, information on who will provide services, how progress toward your job goal will be measured, and a description of everyone's responsibilities. When you work with DVR, some services will be provided at no cost to you. Others may require you to pay or contribute. This depends on your personal circumstances, and your DVR partner will work with you on that process. Goods and services provided by DVR must be necessary, appropriate, and the least possible cost. You will probably hear these words a lot. You might want to write them down to keep them in mind. You will have to choose from what is available, not from what you want. You don't have to know what career you want to begin the IPE process. In Colorado, you can begin as early as age 15 working with DVR to develop important employment skills that lay a foundation for success after high school. When you work with DVR, informed choice is an important part of the process. This is another important concept, and you might want to write down informed choice to keep this in mind. This means that you are given information about the options available to you, and you should be participating fully in the process. Making informed choices doesn't mean that you can choose anything you want. You must work with the options that are available through DVR and follow the DVR requirements. So if you want to get started with developing an IPE, first, contact your DVR office and schedule your first appointment with a DVR partner. Next, prepare for your appointment. You will need to fill out a form that your DVR partner will give to you. Other helpful information to have includes copies of evaluations, your IEP, which is your individualized education program from school, a resume or other information on your work or volunteer experience, and information on disability benefits. Think about your job goal and your why. Knowing what is important to you in a job setting, what types of jobs you are interested in, and what local opportunities there are can make the process more effective. And learn more about what an IPE is not. Remember that the process takes time and you will have responsibilities that are outlined in the IPE. Some services will be provided at no cost, and others may require you to pay or contribute. More information about each of these steps can be found in the guide and its resources. Now try to find your local DVR office. You can use the QR code at the bottom of the screen or type in the address, which is at the bottom of the screen, dvr.colorado.gov/contact-us. And when you get to the page, you should see a map of the DVR offices around the state. If you scroll down, you'll have contact information for each of those offices. Write down the contact information for your local office so you have that for later. If you have any questions about the IPE guide or about transition from high school generally, please contact an advisor at Peak Parent Center. They can be reached at parentadvisor@peakparent.org. That address is on the slide. And these slides will be available on the Peak Parent Center website as well. So thank you for your attention and good luck in the process.